there, Jess Smith, professional triathlete and coach with Hardcore Coaching, and today we're going to be talking about transitions. So a lot of people kind of count transitions in their training, but it's actually the easiest place to make up some time. So the more efficient you are in transition, the more time you can make up on your competitors, the faster you get to your next sport, and the faster your time is, and it doesn't take a lot of extra training. So let's run through the most efficient way to pack up a transition and talk about some pro tips. Okay, so in a transition for a triathlon, you're obviously going to have your bike shoes and helmet, your nutrition, your bib, you'll have your swim cap and goggles on before you get to transition, and then you'll have your running shoes, probably some socks, and something to cover your head. So let's talk about the wetsuit first, because that's where we're going to start, usually with the swim. So if you have a speed suit, if it's a non-wetsuit swim, there's not much you can do to modify it. So a pro tip here, because wetsuits can be tricky to get off, is, and just know this will probably void your warranty with your wetsuit company, but there's a seam patch on the inside of your wetsuit, and if you look at the pros, or probably some of the people that are coming in first in their age group, and you look at their wetsuits, and you'll notice that the ankle is cut off, and it comes pretty high up on their leg. So you can actually cut the bottom of your wetsuit, which is what I've done here. The big thing is you don't want to cut it above this seam patch right here. So as long as you don't cut too high, you won't risk your wetsuit unraveling, but it makes the leg opening much bigger, and I'll show you that in a second, and it's a lot easier to get it off. So that's pro tip number one. Okay, so now you can see I have my wetsuit on, and if you look down, I'm short, so even when I cut it off, it's still pretty low on the ankles, but it doesn't go all the way down to just above my foot anymore, and I have made this opening a little bigger so it's easier to take off. Now, I've made sure that the back here is in, and so all I have to do is open this, and the string will fall, and then I can unzip it myself. So that's key, is that you don't want it all looped up. You want to be able to just rip open the neck part, open the Velcro, and then be able to catch your string. And then I say, always be stripping down while you're running. Now normally, you will have your cap and your goggles in your hand. So what you want to do here, and this is a pro trick, if you've ever lost your cap and goggles along the way, you're running along and you accidentally drop them, or you take off your wetsuit and they fall somewhere, it's really frustrating to lose those, and you don't want to turn around and go back to get them. So hold them in your hand as you're stripping off your wetsuit and you're running to save time, or walking briskly, is you want to pull it through your arm so that when you take off your wetsuit, now your cap and goggles are stuck in your arm and they're not going anywhere. So you're running, you take this off. So if you have a long transition, you want to get the arms off, get some air, keep running. Keep it at your waist, start to cinch it down, and keep it here just at the waist until you get to your transition area. This is going to give you maximum movement in your wetsuit. If it's hot outside, you're going to want to get the arms off as quickly as possible. If it's cold outside, you can leave your arms on, but it feels a lot better if you're trying to run if you take the top down. And then you get to to the transition area, and all you have to do, pull it off. Then you want to pull out a foot, step on it again, maybe step a few more times. I could clearly cut this a little more. Reach down and pull it over your foot if you have to. Usually if you cut it high enough, the step trick and pull will work. Okay, so that's getting your wetsuit off. So you've got it off. Now you've got to get your bike shoes on. If you can start with your shoes on your bike, that's a good trick to know. It saves a lot of time. We're not always allowed to do that, so you might have your shoes on the floor here. But definitely, if you can, I usually put my helmet on my aero bars. You always want to rack your bike by your seat, not your aero bars. Rack it by the seat. You want to put your helmet right on the aero bars, make sure it's nice and sturdy so it's not going to fall. And then I like to put my nutrition in my helmet. That way I don't have to bend down to get anything but my shoes. So I've got my helmet, I run into transition, I take my nutrition out, and I immediately just stick it in my back pocket. You want to practice that, make sure you know where your pockets are in your race kit. Helmet goes on, sunglasses go on, then bend down to put my shoes on, and I grab my bike and go. All right, so now I'm coming back from a fantastic bike. Put these shoes on here. And I've got my helmet on. I'm not going to do it because then I have to take my ponytail out. But I've got my sunglasses on already. All right, and I've got my helmet on. So I'm running in. If you can, and everybody's allowed to do this, is you can take your feet out of your shoes while you're still riding, and then put your feet on top of your shoes, and then that way when you get off the bike, just practice it. But if you can dismount without taking your shoes out of the clips, that's ideal, because then you can just run barefoot to transition. But if you do have your shoes on, take your helmet off, shoes go off, and then I like to make sure my transition is set up as efficiently as possible. So again, if I have more nutrition that I need to pick up, I'm going to stick that along with my socks in my shoes like this, so I don't have to gather it. It's already gathered, and it's easy to grab. And same with my socks, they're already in my shoe. So I run in, I pick up my nutrition, I put it in my pocket, and then I do a sock and a shoe, and a sock and a shoe, hopefully in one motion. Grab my hat, grab my bib, and I start running. Normally I'll have my bib already unclipped so that I can actually put my visor and my bib on while I'm running, and then I'm off. So the big thing is to lay everything out so that it's easy to grab, easy to put on, in a flow that works for you, and then you just try to be as efficient as possible. If you lose 5-10 seconds, that's not a big deal. You don't want to get too stressed out, but you do want to try to run through transition as quickly as possible, because again, it's a lot harder to run 30 seconds faster, but if you can make up 30 seconds in a transition, easy peasy.